Pokemon Horizons episode 10 with Nemona and Brassius just aired, and we got the introduction of two of the most liked characters in the games. Let's talk about it. The episode begins with Liko and Roy arriving at Artazon, and they are all super excited to see all the grass-type Pokemon that live there. Roy starts asking the townspeople if they've seen a black Rayquaza around, and they don't seem to have seen it. As they walk further down, they come across a girl a little older than them who's dominating battles with her Palmod. This catches Roy's attention, and he's super amazed at their battling skills. The woman infers that Roy and Liko might be Pokemon trainers, so she challenges them to a battle. Liko saves them from humiliation and says that they're not there for a battle, but actually to meet someone from the town, an acquaintance of Liko's dad. The woman brings them to the Artazon gym where the gym leader resides, but sadly the gym is closed at the moment. Liko then recognizes that the woman they met is actually a champion-ranked trainer, Nemona. This marks the earliest introduction of a champion into a new series, just barely beating out Leon I think, but I'm still glad that we got to see her here so early nonetheless. But as soon as they introduce themselves to each other, they overhear a man screaming and glass breaking. They go to check it out and see that it's Brassius, the gym leader, destroying his sculpture. I guess Brassius was having some sort of rage, but the reason is not yet known, but surely it's going to get brought up again later in the episode. Nemona asks him if he's okay, and he responds yes, and suddenly he gets super excited to hear that Liko is the daughter of his acquaintance, the Pokemon writer Alex. Brassius brings him inside to have some drinks, and we see that his house is ornated with all kinds of grass-type Pokemon inspired items. Honestly, all of the items were super cute, especially the mug cups. I'd totally love to have my morning coffee out of one of those. Every time Brassius gets all excited and fired up, his partner Dolliv gets surprised and accidentally sprays some of its Dolliv oil onto poor Palmod. This is totally adorable, and we get to see Palmod all wet and shocked at what just happened, and Dolliv is quite a timid Pokemon and starts embracing Brassius out of its embarrassment. Sprigatito tries to cheer Dolliv up and exudes its lovely scent across the room. This makes Dolliv happy, so it once again sprays some of its Dolliv oil, which again lands on Palmod. Roy then brings up the black Rayquaza that was seen going towards Artazon, and this triggered Brassius, causing him to walk out. It is here that we find out that he created a sculpture of black Rayquaza, which he also shattered. Liko notices one of the broken pieces of the black Rayquaza and realizes that maybe Brassius is currently in a slump. She knows because her dad is like that too. Whenever artists get into a slump, they tend to become unhappy of their artworks and start destroying them. Personally, I'd like to say that I'd never go through this, but since my art skills extend to making a stickman, I can't relate at all. Nemona hatches the idea to gather all of the Sunflora that they can and bring them to Brassius because she knows that the sight of Sunflora makes people happy. They all work together to bring as many Sunflora as they can, but Liko contributed the most thanks to Sprigatito. This is a fun way to introduce a gym challenge from the games without them officially challenging Brassius to a gym battle. It was a really clever move from Horizons to show off most of the game as possible. Horizons is doing a top tier start to show off the Paldea region compared to Journey's treatment of Galar, and one can only hope that this trend continues. We then see Brassius and Dolliv staring at them, wondering why they're doing such a thing. Dolliv steps forward and gets their attention and then sprays its Dolliv oil at Brassius. Roy explains that they're gathering the Sunflora to make him smile, and Nemona says that the kids in Artazon want to see him smile too and open the gym again. Brassius understands the situation and leads him to his gigantic black Rayquaza masterpiece. Brassius explains that the reason he's in such a slump is because you guys aren't subscribed to my channel. I'm just kidding, but if you aren't and are enjoying this video thus far, make sure to like and subscribe, it's totally free. No, but really, the reason he's in a slump is because he saw a shiny Rayquaza at night, and ever since that fateful encounter he hasn't been able to make a solid sculpture. Roy inspired Brassius by telling him that even though it sucks what happened to him, he wants to meet Rayquaza even more now, and that's his first step towards his dream. This changes Brassius' way of thinking of the situation, and he then says that he wants to check if Roy is ready to meet him and challenges him to an unofficial Pokemon battle. Roy goes with Fuecoco of course, and Brassius sends out Sudowoodo. Roy thinks that Sudowoodo is a grass type, so he calls for an Ember, which does virtually no damage. Sudowoodo retaliates with Rock Throw, which does a ton of damage to Fuecoco. Nemona then reveals that Sudowoodo is actually a rock type and not a grass type. Honestly, I can't blame Roy though, because I think that it was a common misunderstanding for people when they see Sudowoodo for the first time. Fuecoco dodges the next series of attacks and goes for Tackle just in time for Sudowoodo to use Substitute. Multiple tackles aren't enough to break the Substitute, and Sudowoodo uses Taunt for some reason, which kinda like confuses Fuecoco I guess. Fuecoco fires off embers everywhere and disobeys Roy, but soon after the Croc starts making powerful stomps on the grounds out of frustration. Turns out Fuecoco learned Stomping Tantrum, which is a super effective move against Sudowoodo. Finally, Substitute is broken and proceeds to hit Sudowoodo right on the torso. Fuecoco charges straight at him, but Brassius whips out its Pokeball and Terastallizes Sudowoodo. This was such a surprise. I was genuinely shocked, but it made the scene so much better since Horizon's team hit it. After Fuecoco finally learned a super effective move against Rock, Brassius Terastallizes to make it resistant to the ground attack, which was great strats. Sudowoodo turns into a grass type, which means ground type moves are now weak against it. So Roy calls for Ember, but Brassius alertedly goes with his signature move, Trailblaze, and knocks out Fuecoco. After the battle, Nemona explains the Terastal phenomenon and how Pokemon can terastallize into 18 different types. Each Pokemon might be the same, but they could Terastallize to a different type altogether. We then see Brassius smiling, and he applauds Roy for such a great battle that he gave him. He then shows him a sculpture he made of the nearby forest, and that's where the gang is headed in the next episode. This episode did a really fantastic job of setting up the characters of Nemona and Brassius. Nemona was not only shown to be exactly like her game counterpart, it just fit her equally as well in the anime. She was shown to be an amazing trainer who was battling against her fans and the people who lived in the city. Nemona was also doing her duty of visiting Brassius again to open up his gym again. Brassius being shown to be in a slump is an extremely relatable moment, as that humanizes the gym leader, which is a good thing instead of just meeting him, getting our info and leaving. Instead we got a fully fleshed out gym leader. I also thoroughly enjoyed the battle that he had with Roy, which I thought was gonna be against Nemona, but was rather surprised that it ended up being versus Roy instead. This battle drops Roy's official battle record to 0-2-1, so not a great start, but I'm sure he's gonna pick it up around. In the gym battle, Brassius was basically ahead of him this whole time with his Sudowoodo, and it had an amazing moveset of Rock Throw, Substitute, Taunt, and Trailblaze, which was a great and fun set to watch, and it even helped Fuecoco learn Stomping Tantrum, which was a great choice for its weakness to rock types. For some reason I thought Taunt was swagger just the way it played out and how it looked like Fuecoco was confused, but that's neither here nor there. They also extremely surprised me with the Terastallization reveal, which they did a fantastic job of keeping hidden from us. After the Terastallization, Brassius swiftly earns his victory and deems Roy worthy of meeting Rayquaza. It was really cool to see how his brief meeting with Roy is what finally inspired and brought Brassius out of his rut, which shows that Roy has a really bright and cheerful personality, just like his partner Pokemon Fuecoco. The visuals were solid all throughout except near the end when they just went through a little slideshow at the end, which Journeys was infamous for, and at the start with a daily Liko recapping the last episode just before the intro plays. However, without a doubt in my mind, this episode is one of the best that we've got in Pokemon Horizons thus far, and because of that it gets a 9 out of 10. 10 episodes in, this has been my 4th 9 out of 10 rating, which is pretty crazy, and brings the series average to a 7.8 out of 10, which I think is very solid. This aligns with my thoughts on the series thus far. Being a well above average series, I'd love to see it end with over an 8 out of 10 rating. This episode did a wonderful job at transitioning to the next episode, which is something basically every non-Journey series did very well. Knowing about the Arboliva forest that Brassius told them, it leads them there. Once they arrive, they see that the forest is completely destroyed and it's being bullied by a Titan Arboliva. At least it looks like a Titan, but it could be just a really big one. It'd be totally amazing if it was. For them to introduce an anime exclusive Titan would be a treat, and they could potentially lead to many more than just 5 Titans. It looks like Nemona and Mollie are the characters accompanying Liko and Roy, and I can't wait to see their dynamic together, as well as I'm glad that Nemona is sticking around for a bit. Maybe we can see Arven here, it'd be really cool, and they kept Terastallization a secret, so maybe they can keep Arven a secret. Paldean Wooper is introduced, and it's as cute as you'd expect. The Titan Arboliva looks incredibly menacing and like it's gonna be a threat for Liko and Roy. I think they're gonna get split up, not sure if it's in pairs or all individually, and they'll meet up again to kind of raid battle the Arboliva. Not sure, but I think it'd be really cool if it played out that way. Did you enjoy Brassius and Nemona's introduction in the anime? I think they were both handled extremely well. I really love how accurately they were both introduced from the games, as well as a small twist with Brassius not being challenged as an actual gym leader. Make sure to answer the question with the hashtag QOTD so I know you're a real one, and of course if you made it this far into the video, I want to say that I truly appreciate you. But with that being said, it's been your boy Luap, and I'm out. Peace.